All right. Oops. Hey, Bo. Good evening to you. Thanks for stopping by. I am once again screwing up the stream by not setting my camera up correctly. But now we got the right one going. Looking good. How's everybody doing tonight? Glad to hear it, display name. I just got to put the updated link on the internet. Oh, nice. I am looking forward to walking in the park weather. We're getting close. Here in Oregon, the daffodils have started popping up, which is always a fun reminder that spring is about to get here. All right. Well, hey. So I threw this guy out. These are the book plates that I'm sending to comic shops to plop in the Lonesome Hunters trade that's coming out on the 22nd. It'll be comic shops 22nd and bookstores sometime later. I think a week or two later. It is a mess getting books out nowadays. This will be February 22nd will be the third release date that we've had for this book so far for comic shops. It keeps getting pushed back because first it sat on a boat for a long time, and then it finally got off the boat, and then it had to sit in a big storage place. What do they call that? Like the shipyard. It had to sit there for forever, and then it got put on a train, and then the train had to sit on a train for a couple weeks before it could even move. And that seems to be what happens with just about everybody's book nowadays. It's kind of frustrating. But it is happening. I have proof that they at least made one of these. So I thought today, I didn't have anything big planned. I didn't really want to dive into anything too complex. So I thought I would do a little bit of sketchbook work. I was thinking about in The Lonesome Hunters, Lupe and her mother used to watch anime called Mecha Sabre Gemini, which is a made up, like a fictional anime, but it's like basically a ripoff of every great anime all at once. and I thought maybe I would try to design some mechs today. I'm not really a good mech designer, but thought it would be fun to give it a shot. I don't even know for sure if we'll get too much of a if we will get a good look at um the anime, but it'll keep coming up. So I thought it would be fun to work on it. And I'm going to use this. I just got this recently, and this stuff is really cool. It is it's just 7 millimeter or 5 millimeter lead for this guy, but it is very erasable. So like if we zoom in real good here, boom, basically gone. I don't know if I have ever found a like a mechanical pencil lead that erases that good. So it is very exciting to have one. Yeah, no, it's very funny that how people sort of expect, well, one, that the pandemic stuff is over, and two, that like in the US we've had almost 1.5 million people die of COVID. And it's like that's gonna affect some things. That's a lot of people not showing up for work. All right, so mechs. One of my very favorite kinds of mechs are these ones that are like all head, kind of, especially if they have like the arms kind of coming off the front. Like I don't know if these mechs have a kind of name, but like it's like a giant tin can. And I like these feet too that are like a toe and a heel. Robotech had a lot of mechs with that kind of foot structure that I always thought was super cool. I'm not like especially caught up on all of the great mech stuff that exists. Robotech and Voltron were like absolutely my jam growing up. Oh yeah, those giant like missile arrays that they would have on their shoulders. They had a bunch of those um, in Robotech too. After singing the praises of this lead, I also should point out that it is very easy to break. See, I think with a mech like this, it would have like these panels on the side that would open up. So it looks sort of just like this boring tin can, and then when shit gets real, it's like chunk, and 1,000 missiles come out all at once. I just watched Evangelion for the first time. Dang, I guess that was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. When they re-released it on Netflix with that sort of questionable translation. But I really liked it. I thought that was an incredibly weird and good anime. I liked how like the cicada sound was so oppressive in that show. Like anytime they were outdoors, it was just like that absolutely never ending cicada sound. And I like too when they're like when those mechs have like I think when it comes to mechs, I like them to look like the ones that get me really sort of excited are the ones that look like they were designed without the thought of them looking like humans at all. You know, so many mechs are like, you know, obvious robots designed to look like human beings or whatever. And I like them when they have like the components of a human body, but without trying to actually look like them. I think that's cool. Yeah, the gonk droid. Probably my favorite droid. The gonk droid and I don't know what they're called, but those little ones that the Empire has that are like obviously just little RC cars. Those are great. Is that what they're called? Mouse droids? Those are great. I mean, they made like C-3PO get scared. So that's not, at least it's not like out of character of the universe or whatever. Like it fits. But yeah, the way they design droids in Star Wars is very silly. Like, it's absolutely hilarious that like Anakin makes C-3PO and he can barely walk or stand when he's first developed, but he has like a fully developed neurotic AI, which is like funny that Anakin spent the time working on that. But maybe the AI comes off the shelf. What do you mean by the uncanny? Like, because I like them to be machines. Like, yeah, I guess that's the thing is like I like them to look like they were sort of like, what if we made a Jeep walk instead of drive? But I like it to be like to feel very grounded in reality. Oh yeah. Yeah, like when the like a robot takes an approach to doing a human task, but does it in a very robotic way instead of doing it like does it how you would do it if you had a robot fingers instead of human fingers. So this dude's kind of cool, but he has a vibe like one of those walkers, those Star Wars walkers, which is it's that backwards leg. Like Robotech had those cool dudes that were like um, what did they look like? They were sort of like they almost looked like a skull on legs. How did they? Are they something like that? This guy might be better served with longer legs, actually, if he was more like had this body shape and then you could sort of offset the long legs by putting big missile batteries sort of hanging off their hips. That looks kind of cool. Hello, Ma. If I was going to do like a human type. Oh, yeah. I fucking love these. Sorry. Try not to cuss. I friggin' love those big hip robots. Those guys are cool. Oh, this is kind of an interesting shape with the super long forearms. Give them like dog legs. Oh, I should grab some more of that stuff. I only learned like last year that Robotech was originally, I may have talked about this on stream before, but I did not know that it was originally 3 separate um, cartoons that then when they released them in the US, they combined them into a single narrative, which is kind of a bummer. Like the idea that of doing the Robotech Wars, 3 generations of it like that is such a cool idea. I guess it's not a bummer because that we got to have that story, but um, yeah, just such a cool and weird idea. Like it reminds me a lot of the how Grendel works, that comic series, how they just followed whoever was going to be Grendel over the course of a couple hundred years. More than that, I guess. Because Grendel Prime is like super old now. No, this is definitely the cool kids stream. Anyone watching this qualifies. If I don't know about that foot idea. I don't know. Let's plow through and see what we got. And this one, I kind of had the idea of almost not having a head at all. Just having a little compartment up there. Those intake vents might look a little too much like boobs. Any place that claims to be where the cool kids hang out probably isn't. Oh, you know what this like foot should be like just a big old chonker thing instead of like this one is a no, but this one is yes. Oh, that's funny. I don't think I've actually seen Macross Plus. That might not even make sense to me because of the Robotech lore that I have in my head. My favorite Robotech thing are the crap, I don't know what they call it. The motorcycle dudes. That's like those motorcycles that transform into like a power suit are still some of the coolest things I've ever seen in my whole life. Like almost as cool as Voltron. Voltron's like really one of the coolest ideas for a robot ever. I like this small head idea because then like they designed the small head cockpit so you could fit the little missile batteries up here. Rollerblades. Rollerblades is not a bad idea. I think rollerblades on a mech is just about the only place where rollerblades truly make sense. Oh yeah. GoBots might be the only transforming robot thing that originated in America. I mean, it was obviously sort of a rip-off of Transformers, but yeah, I loved GoBots when I was a kid. That leader who turned into a motorcycle. I just loved motorcycle toys when I was a kid. So in the Lonesome Hunters, Lupe tells Howard all about Mechs Sabre Gemini. And she's like, in the third series, they get this really cool bug mecha. It's like a tank, but with mechanical crab legs. And I wrote that without really knowing what that would look like. So if it looked like a tank, like it might have kind of a body shape like this, but then like crab's legs. What do crab's legs look like? Ghost in the Shell bug tank. I'm going to look that up. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's one of them. It looks like there's a bunch of different designs between the comic and the anime and everything. I like that one. There he's got a big old spider butt. That would be really fun to do a Mechs Sabre Gemini spin-off. This I'm pretty into. Like I like these kind of tank turrets or whatever they're called that are like really thin and wide. And then we can have like the missile chambers back here. And then we could even do like I like those dudes in Akira that have like the wheels on the end of their legs. Like those guys are pretty cool. I don't know if that works for this though. This might do better with just sort of regular feet. The bots with Butte got Sir Mix-a-Lot bots. Oh, hey, I meant to say at the beginning, and I kind of spaced about the book plates, that if you wanted a signed book plate to talk to your local comic shop and ask them to get in touch so I can send them a bunch. But at least for right now, I'm just doing it through shops because buying from your local comic shop is the best way to buy comics. Not that there's any way that is bad to buy a comic, but yeah, I had the idea that for the Gemini part is sort of a ripoff of oh, what's that Guillermo del Toro show movie about the mechs? I'm spacing on it. But where it takes 2 people to operate. I really liked that idea, and I thought it sort of thematically fit with some of the stuff with the Lonesome Hunters. Pacific Rim, exactly, yes. They can contact me through any social media thing, or they can, go to my website, which is mrcrook.com, and go to the contact page and send me a note. Basically, any way that they get in touch with me will be great. But probably the sooner the better, 'cause, I put a bunch in the mail today, and, um, don't know how long it'll take to get there. If it's in the US, it'll probably just take less than a week, maybe? I don't know. I don't know how the mail is doing nowadays. Haven't been paying too close of attention to it. But I sent some to Canada today too, and I'm worried about it getting there in time because sometimes that is unreasonably slow. So I'm kind of just drawing different leg patterns on each one of these legs to see which one I like. I think in a final design, they would probably all be the same. And then off the front, we can have these little grabber arms. It's pretty fun. Imply some sort of machinery down here. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I usually don't do as much of this as I would like to. I mean, so often the deadlines sort of require me to design stuff like on the page, which, honestly kind of sucks. Like it's much nicer to take some time and explore some ideas. And when I'm trying to do it for an audience, it's definitely a different experience because I feel a little bit like I have to explain myself as I go, which is kind of cool actually, because it makes me think about what I'm doing a little bit more intentionally. Do not know what to do with the. I feel like these need feet, but like that's kind of cool, like a little grabber. So if we did like a knee, I don't like the rectangle. Like if it needs like a, yeah, like that kind of a thing. So we have a knee, and then we'll do like a shin. And then 4 little fingers coming off each. Like, that's kind of cool. Oh, yeah, like a knife. That's an interesting idea. Like, I think this guy, because his, like, the main idea here is just that he's a tank. Like, that's very much like a bashing, like shooting and bashing weapon. So I think maybe, like, instead of a knife, this guy would have, like, a club hand or something. Although, designing these dudes, these mechs to have swords would be very on point for Lonesome Hunters. Oh, little pointy, like little pointy toes, kinda? I don't know if that's quite right for this guy. Like, I really think more of like if we zoom in on just the toes, something that is more squared off is like what they would end up looking like. Oh, praying mantis is a cool idea. I like this kind of vibe for the feet. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I like this. I like this idea too of like the sort of shin thing coming up on the sides. This looks like if you ever watch like a teardown on a um eh, those folding phones, they have like wild little gears inside that look all very cool. Kind of like that. I don't know how. I don't know if a praying mantis thing would work on this tank guy. What does a praying mantis look like? They're like that, which would be. It's like if with this tank body, they would come off, come down and up. And then the tank head would come in between. Feels a little just too like, I don't know. Not very tanky. Oh, centipede legs. I was watching a YouTube video just last night where a guy was trying to work on a robot that used sort of a centipede leg thing where each of the legs would come down, like would go forward, and then it just each leg made a little circle, but like when they worked together, like a centipede mech. Would be rough. That seems like maybe what the bad guys would drive actually, is like a more bug-like. Like I like in Robotech where the Robotech masters had like very organic looking mechs, while the Earth people drove very sort of mechanical. They were all based off jets and off of tanks and stuff. Like it made for a kind of a cool contrast. Like these dudes might actually have that praying mantis. So right now I'm kind of thinking of the bad guys, like what the bad guys might drive. Yeah, I think techno organic it would be the term for that. Oh, that would actually be kind of cool to have a dude that looked like a skeleton mech that was, you could kind of see fiber muscle, like muscle fibers inside of it, but with like a skeletal frame around it. The bad guy mechs would definitely have mechs that are like where each leg is completely unique. The the skeleton with the muscle fibers, it seems like they might have done that in, like, that's kinda oh, what's that manga and anime? Attack on Titan kinda did that, I think. Yeah, like, this kind of drawing definitely lends itself when I'm just sort of scribbling and doing stuff. I've tried doing design like, I did design stuff for video games for a little bit, and man, it I never got, like, a good like, doing design work for myself is great, but doing design work where I have, like, um, a client that I need to satisfy or convince is, like, really, really hard. Just because the amount of time it takes to do, like, a good drawing. Like, this sort of thing, like, I could draw this and be like and feel good about going to the page with it and start doing figure out the fine details of it as I draw it into the story, but, trying to convince, like, a client that that's what they should build in their video game is a little bit, um, a little bit more of a challenge because there's so much stuff that they're like, you have to do it so that they don't have to imagine anything. They have to be able to see exactly what it's gonna look like in the end, which is a lot of friggin' work. And that's one of the nice things about working on, create our own stuff is I'm really just trying to please myself. Yeah, trying to please clients is rough, man. One of the worst experiences I ever had in my life was, very earlier in my career when I was doing graphic design stuff. I was designing business cards for a client, and, I worked for, like, a design agency at the time, and they let the client come and sit next to me while I worked. Oh my god, it was awful. It was literally a dude sitting next to you going like, "Nudge that up," and I hit the up button on the keyboard, and it'd be like, "Nudge it down," and I hit the down button on the keyboard. And we did that for, like, 3 or 4 hours. I think, though, that my bosses were smart enough to charge him, like, an arm and a leg for that privilege, because that was friggin' miserable. Yep. It was the worst. Ooh. Oh, no, that poor artist crying about, like, I think that's a perfectly reasonable reaction to someone sitting there in backseat driving like that, but, ugh. And those are the people who are ecstatic about AI images. That is absolutely grounds for beating the custard out of a client. The funny thing about clients like that is, at least in my experience, um, the clients who leave you alone and let you just do your best work and turn it in, and they're very happy with it, are almost always the clients that pay the best at the same time. Like, the ones who wanna micromanage and waste your time almost always will, like, argue with you about the invoice at the end too. And maybe not universally, but it's a rule of thumb that you can sorta use. This guy's pretty fun. He has kind of a frog vibe to him. Thanks, Ma. All right. I think I'm going to call it quits for the night, everybody. Some kind of fun little robots going on. Mechs. This guy's pretty cool. I really like this guy. I'm pretty happy with that idea. This guy's pretty fun. I guess there's 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, thanks for hanging out, everybody. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great weekend. And yeah, take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. And yeah, I guess I'll see you next Friday. Yeah, maybe I'll actually plan something instead of just making it up as I go along next week. Probably not. All right, good night, everybody. Take care.